Welcome to the Best of Intentions, a podcast from Intention Films and Media, hosted by writer, director, former film commissioner, and novelist Deborah Markowitz. So join us as we talk about all things creative.
Hi, thank you for watching us again on the Best of Intentions podcast, the podcast of Intention Films and Media. You're basically eavesdropping on our personal conversations. So usually I have people I know, who I've worked with, who are friends, and today I have somebody who is all of those things. I know I've spoken before about my snapshot connections for those who have seen it, and I have this thing where I'm just very bad with names. If you tell me your name, I'm going to forget it 2 seconds later. It's nothing personal. I just suck with that. But there are certain people where if I see them, I remember the exact moment I saw them, and that will always stick in my mind. And then I know there's somebody who's supposed to be in my life. So Donna Sirianni was one of those people. So my guest today is Donna Sirianni, and we're going to talk about all the cool things that she's doing and how we met. But she was working on a film, a short documentary promo called My Wish.
Right.
And how many years ago was that?
It was long. It was, I think it was 14 years ago.
Was it 14 years
ago? Maybe.
I just remembered seeing this on Facebook and going, it was about manifesting, and I'm like, yeah, that's the piece I need. Because I was doing all the things that I wanted to be doing, and yet I'm kind of like, yeah, that I didn't really even know what it was so much.
Right.
But I knew I was kind of doing it, and so I wanted to meet you. And I remember that I had gone to the Belmo Movies for some sort of event, and we had been exchanging messages through Facebook, and I saw you, and it's like, click. I knew you.
I know, and now we're friends all these years later.
I know, it's like crazy. So tell us about that, because that was a kind of cool thing.
Oh my God!
Then.
So all right. So my wish, here was my idea, and it was before all social media was out, and I wish I would have kept posting from that point of time till today. But the idea was, if you have a dream, how do you actually, what's the process in getting there? How do you think about it? Like when things happen that are good along that path to getting that dream, when things that happen that are bad, how do you think about that? How do you process that? So the whole idea was, I said to myself, I'm going to be at some point in the movie industry producing certain films that I want to produce. I don't know how I'm going to get there. I have no connections. I don't know anything about the industry, but it's something I'm passionate about because within the genre, it's like really helping people. And I said, let me just film that so I could get all these behind the scenes kind of like thoughts that I have. Like, okay, this is how I'm thinking. Okay, this is how I'm thinking. And then something happens. I remember there was a time where I took my promo and I said, I'm going to send it out to Oprah, right? Like, let's just go right to the top, right? That's how my thought was. And I said, let me just send, this is what I'll do. I'll go onto LinkedIn. I'll find out all the people that work there, all the producers, and I'm going to send out the promo at the same time, hoping like they all get it and they say to themselves, oh, did you get that? Did you get that? You know, this is what I'm thinking. I have no idea if it's going to happen.
Well, you don't know unless
you don't know.
Yeah.
So on my wish, I was talking about that. So I'm filming that. I'm like, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm going to do. This is why I'm going to do it. And it turned out one of the producers got back to me.
Oh my God.
I know. And I was like, oh my God. And I filmed that too. I'm like, oh my God. So she got back to me and she was like, listen, we love this whole concept, but this is our last year on TV. So Oprah's bringing on all A-list actors every time, but stay connected. And I wound up staying connected actually, and had now and like wound up introducing her to people that I know in the business. And so it was a good connection. And I said, all right, even though it didn't get onto Oprah, I still like connected with them in this way, and we'll see like how that works in the future and where that turns out. So it was just like a lot of different things like that, you know.
So you started in this industry basically before you did My Wish. You started as an actress, correct?
Was
that not first? I think you did a soap opera.
So my thought process was, all right, I want to learn this craft, right, and respect it and understand, you know, what you go through. So I'm like, let me take some classes. So I was in the city. I took a bunch of classes, a scene study and all that. And I'm like, all right, next, let me get on the set of things. I want to be on the set and understand what's going on. So I was on, what do you call it, the cop movie? It's filmed in the city. Order? Yeah, Law and Order a bunch of times. I was on a soap opera a bunch of times. But I was always, like, I was the one that was in the front, because I was watching and learning. And everybody else was like complaining in the back, like, oh, we're here all day, this is forever. And I'm like, this is what you want to do. Like, you can't have that attitude, which is part of, you know, kind of my wish and everything.
I always loved it.
Yeah. So I would be in the front, and because I would be in the front and I would be watching everything, the director would always bring me on set. They'd be like, you, come here. And I would wind up getting a featured extra role with the main character or whatever, because I was really wanting to learn. I even remember on the set of one of the soap operas, I was in the dressing room, and they had like the Emmy Award, and I'm like, wow, I'm like surrounded by this, and just watching and learning. It was just about learning and understanding it from that perspective. So I did a lot of that, and then a friend of mine asked me to talk to someone who was producing a music show, Indie Music TV, and they said, you know, he's looking for somebody to kind of be a host on TV, and my mindset was like, I want to learn about the acting, but I really want to learn about like the producing, how you bring people together, the big picture. So I wound up talking to him, and he's like, his name's Chris Patty, and he's like, well, tell me about the show. What do you think? And I'm like, you really want to know? I'm like, all right, I would change this, I would do this, and I gave him a whole list of things, and he's like, you know what? I totally agree. Do you want to produce this with me? So I'm like, yeah. I was like, I would love to do that. He's like, and you could do the segment. It was called Ask the Guru. He goes, but you produce it. And I wound up bringing in writers, bringing in other VJs, bringing in videos, finding an assistant, and like really helped him he's the mastermind behind the show, but I helped him kind of, you know, do all the things to get his vision where he wanted to get it, you know, my small part in it. And it was just a great experience. And so it was like I was able to do some of the producing and a little bit of the acting. And yeah, so that was all around that time, the same time as My Wish, the same time as Indie Music TV.
Well, I remember one really cool thing we did. The first film job that, first of all, actually, I want to say what you were saying about watching all this. When I was the film commissioner, I didn't really get to go to a lot of sets because we were just so busy. But every time I did go, people would be like, "This is watching a paint job," and I'm like, "Painter." I'm like, "No, this is fascinating."
Yeah,
I wanted to watch what everything was going.
Right.
I wanted to see all the equipment. To me, it was all of it was exciting. I was never bored on set. But I was asked to at one point cast and produce and be a casting director on a movie called My Cross to Bear.
Oh my God!
Now this is
a good story.
This is one of my favorite stories. But we had done auditions in the city. We saw a ton of people. You had read for one of the roles. They decided to go with somebody else. And the day that we were on set, I told you, would you come and be an extra, because we do need people to be in the courtroom scene.
Right.
And you're like, sure, I'll do that. And that day we're on set, and the actress doesn't show up. And they're like, maybe we can ask so and so. I'm like, you can't ask so and so because they can't act. And I'm like, but somebody here read and knows all the lines already. And he said, who? And I had Donna Sirianni, and it was Glenn Allen. He goes, where is she? And I said, she's back there. And he ran over, he spoke to you, we gave you the script again, and you came, and they ended up actually cutting that whole segment, but you stepped right in, you had clothes in the car because you were going to go somewhere else after or something?
I actually remember you, like, Donna, you said, I know you're like looking to do speaking parts, but there's like, I need people for the courtroom, and I was just so happy for you. I'm like, I will totally do my hair, I'll put a suit on or whatever. So when I came in, then they said that other actress wasn't there. I think the director's wife was like, she's like, you know what? The director doesn't like the boots you have on. But for some reason, I was leaving my house and I went back up into my house and I brought back these shoes. Are you a size 8? And I'm like, yeah. She goes, well, then I guess that's why I went back into my house. It's for you. So I put them on. And all I remember is, I don't know who Glenn was at the time, but just he kept coming over to me. He's like, thank you so much. And I'm like, no, I'm so happy I could help. Thank you. And he just kept thanking me all day. I'm like, what a nice person. Like, I don't know who he is, but he's so nice. And I'm so grateful to even be here. I was so like sitting in the stands proud of you because you're like, I always wanted to cast. And I'm like, there she's doing it. And I was like so happy for you. And so anyway, so I got invited to the wrap party because now I was part of the cast. And so the same guy with the blue eyes that kept thanking me was there. And he's like, so what are you doing? What's your thoughts? What are you working on, anything? So I'm like, I have this idea for this movie behind the scenes. And I was giving him, I was telling him about it. And he goes, I would totally help you. I'm like, well, who are you? And he's like, well, I was his executive producer on the film. And he's like, I worked with Ron Howard for 10 years, and I love your concept. And when you're ready, I know you're brand new. He goes, but I'd be happy to help you and teach you above the line, below the line. You should direct it. He was like so awesome and so supportive. So I said, wow. I said, all right, well, it's a thought right now. I have some basic things written. I said, but I need some help. I got some help from you writing. I got some help from a few people writing. And he's like, well, whenever you're ready, let me know. And I was like, thank you so much. And it was just amazing how that all kind of came together.
Yeah.
And wound up, being on your film, and then being with Glenn Allen and him supporting me and wanting to do this short that I wanted to do, because I'm like, let me do a short, get my feet wet, And so years later, we always stayed in touch. And like years later, which is this past year, I was like, listen, I think I'm ready to go ahead with it. Are you still on? He's like, yeah, let's go. So him and you've helped, and Russ Carmod have helped, and so I have like a great team, and so just raising some funding, but I'm ready to go now. So
I love the way that this whole industry is so synchronistic. Okay, synchronistic.
Let's use that
Is that a word?
If not, we just made it up.
It is now. It's synchronistic. But I always tell people that it's so important how you put yourself forward, because the person who you met here, who you helped, is now going to help you, and everything goes together with that, and that's so important. And even I tell one of my pieces of advice for actors: if you audition for a role and you don't get it, there's 5 million reasons you don't get it, and none of them may have anything to do with your talent.
I swear to God. So when I was on Indie Music TV, I cast for their VJs, and it was exactly that. It was incredible to be on the other side, and I wanted to tell every actor it has something to do with you, because it was literally like, all right, we like him. First of all, we had a bunch of, we had the guys and we had the girls. There were guys that came in with these attitudes. Like, it was ridiculous. This one guy came in, he knew his stuff. He was so grateful. He was so professional. He just came in, did his thing, took direction. He was great. And we're like, all right, we're going to cast him. He had brown hair. So we're like, we need a girl with blonde hair. And we had girls come in with brown hair that were great, but it was just literally because of that. And then his side, he was short. So we're like, all right, we need somebody that's like his height or a little shorter. So it had nothing to do with what they did on tape. So you never know. It had so much to do with how she looked. Right. And then we found someone great and put them together, and they were awesome. But it was a great perspective to see it from the other side. You know
and
that.
Plus, if you go in and you impress somebody, they might not use you for that, but they'll remember if you're something else, which has happened to me oftentimes. I'll audition somebody 3 times, and for whatever reason, if it's not my project and the director doesn't cast them, then all of a sudden something else comes up and they're perfect.
Right.
Right. And then they work all the time. So just always do your best and always keep your integrity and
Yeah, be professional about it and just take direction and that. And because, as you know, there's time. Like, everybody needs to move on a set, right? Yeah. And you have to keep it going. So you want someone that's working with you that's professional and, So it's interesting.
Yeah. Now, what you're doing something actually that's really cool. Well, first of all, one thing I want to say about Donna Sirianni is Donna will just say these little things sometimes that may stick with you, and all of a sudden where they pop up and they, I mean, I know I've texted you sometimes, when you said this, that affects me right now. Like, I remember I get so ridiculously busy that sometimes I have film job after film job, and everything in my office is a mess. I have everything, piled up on top of whatever, and I know you had just moved, and when you walked in, your place was like spotless, and you said something to the effect of, because I have to have a nice place to live and work. And I'm like, see, now I want that. And my place is like, you can't find anything. And so I took a week and just got everything in order and everything filed away. And, I can sit around like, now I can write. Now I can, and that's so important.
It's about the energy and clearing that. I mean, right? It's like, now everything's got its place. Now you have room for energy to come in to do whatever you want that's even more creative, right? And that's why, when I moved, I was in this zone of just unpacking, setting everything up. How do I want to feel in this room? How do I want to feel in that room? And just like setting it up, and I'm like, okay, now I can move forward with everything.
Important. So important. Yeah. And I mean, you say things like that all the time that just come up, and I'll always say, Donna, you know what? This just happened, that just happened.
So that.
Yeah. And so you're doing something that I think is really important for people, because you impart that kind of information and that kind of philosophy and that kind of, so tell us about your reset that you're doing right now.
Yeah, so thank you for asking me, and thank you for having me on. This is just so incredible. I'm like, all right, I do a lot with moving forward strategies. My company, I go into organizations and law firms, and I talk about, or I help them to move into leadership and business development, and I bring some personal development and mindset things into there. But I'm like, I want to do something for like everybody else, like me, you like all of us, that's not necessarily in organization all the time. And I said, I looked at 2 things. I'm like, I'm going to create this thing, which I'll explain to you, because Number one, there's so much going on in the world, and people are worried about so many things. But unfortunately, so many of the things we can't control specifically, right? And I'm like, well, what could we do with all that energy that we're putting out there? And we wish this and we wish that, and this could be different. Bring it back in and turn it on yourself and become your best self. And that's a positive change you can make for the world. Because when you do that, there's a ripple effect. You become your best self, then you kind of goes to your friends, your community, your work, the world, right? So that's something that we could do with the energy that we can control. And the second thing is, well, the 1111 Reset is a membership. So it's something that it's a membership it's an online membership for every month. I'll go into that. But the second reason why I developed it, I said, we all have gym memberships. Like people say, oh, what gym you belong to? What gym you belong to, right? We have a membership for the gym, but we don't have a membership for our mindset. And that's the foundation of everything that we do, And when we talk about mind, body, and spirit, right? You can go to yoga for your spirit. You could pray. You could do whatever it is you want for that. You could go to the gym for your body. You could do that. Spirit, you can meditate. But we don't have something that's like a membership that we focus every month. Let's focus on this and get this better, get it more aligned. So I'm like, my big vision is I would love for the world to be like, oh yeah, but you have a gym membership? What's your mindset membership? And it's just a very normal thing, so I created the 1111 Reset, and I called it the Reset because I feel like all of us are in some kind of transition all the time. And it's like, we're going through this, we're going through that. What do we do? So it's like, all right, if I could focus them every month on a certain topic and give them specific, steps to take on that, they could better themselves that month in that area. Then the next month we could do another topic, and you're constantly bettering themselves. And the 1111, it was really interesting. So I'm like, all right, in the beginning of each month, what I do is an online seminar. It's a 1-hour online seminar. If you can't make it, there's a replay. But I'm like, what do I want them to accomplish at the end of every seminar? So I'm like, all right, I want them to have one takeaway. I want them to have one habit they're going to stop. I want them to have one new action they're going to take, and I want them to have one new reframe, which is a change of perspective on that topic. So I'm like, 1, 1. I'm like, oh, 1, 1, 1. That's like 11, 11. I'm like, oh, that's a really spiritual number too. That means alignment. I'm like, all right. So I go to get the domain name, and as soon as I got it, I looked on my clock, and it was 11, 11.
Oh my God!
I know, and I'm like,
that.
all right, this is good. This is good. This is gonna work. This is gonna work. And so I got the domain name and started the 1111 Reset. I'm kicking that off, and I had done some seminars for News 12 for their tri-state leadership team on change and different things. And they're like, oh, why don't you come in and do, this 1111 Reset on our show, Be Well. It's an Emmy-nominated show, and, it's taking off. And I was like, really? I'm like, okay, that would be awesome. So I started, so now I'm a monthly contributor on News 12. And last month, which was, I guess, we're going into July. So June, the first time it aired, it was explaining what the 1111 Reset is. And then starting July, every month, I'm going to give you a tool. I'm going to talk about how you can change and just things that you can use and reset wherever you're at. So I'm definitely excited about that.
That is so cool. Have you ever done private coaching? I'm just curious.
What's so funny? I have done masterminds. So I've done masterminds where I've worked with people. And that's like you get a group of people, like maybe 5 or 6 people in the room where we're all kind of like in different places but going further. So more of a meetings of a minds like that. But I also just hired a business coach. And that's something I've never done. I'm like, you know what? I want to take everything to the next level. I really want this to work. So it's important to seek help. Like, how can I do this better? How can I be better as a person? How can I have my business be better? My films. You always want to grow, right? We don't know everything. So I'm like excited to do that. Actually, I have a meeting, his first meeting with him today. So later on, and I just want to apply that. So my mindset is always about growth.
Right.
Like, loving where you're at right now or loving who you are right now, and at the same time, how could I contribute more? How could I even be better in certain areas? Where can I grow? And it's a growth mindset. So I think that's just an important thing, because if you're growing, you're dying, so it's like...
Yeah. I mean, it's not that easy to clarify it, but it's sort of like you have to learn from your past, be grateful what you can be grateful in the past, be happy in the present, but plan for the future.
Right,
So you kind of have to live here, but you also have to have the mindset of going forward.
Right.
Where do I want to be? And then set your target that way.
Exactly. It's being grateful for where you are now and excited about what's to come at the same time. Right? And it's that balance that I feel is like like a really good energy. Because if we're constantly like, well, when I do this, I'll be happy. When I do that, I'll be happy. You know what? That's not how you do it. You have to find your happiness first and get in that place. And then that's when all the magic happens. That's when you start meeting people. That's when things start working out, when you're happy first. And it's like, well, how do I get happy first? Well, look around and find things to be grateful for.
And there's always something.
Listen, I always remember, I always go back to, because there are really hard times we go through too, right? So I'm so not about fluff and everything's just perfect in life. Like, no, like things happen. I've been through my own stuff. I've done many resets myself. But I remember Father Tom Hartman, some people may remember who he is, and he was on the God Squad, a priest and a rabbi and everything. I was really close with him. I knew him since I was 7 till the day he passed away. And he had Parkinson's. And I remember talking to him and just about it. And I said, you know, how are you doing? Like, what's it like? And he couldn't even really talk a lot. And I think Russ and I did an interview with him. I think it was one of his last interviews. And he's in that My Wish promo for a minute. And he said, you know what, Donna? He goes, because he just was like a light. Like you were around him. Between my parents and Father Tom, those are the 3 people that just inspired me to try to do something good in the world. And, you know, he always helped everybody. And now it's like he needs help all the time, right? Because he's going through this debilitating disease. So I'm like, you know, how are you? He goes, you know, Donna, in the beginning, I was so frustrated. Like, why me? Why is this happening to me? And it's stopping me from getting out there and doing things and helping people. And he goes, I would be on the beach and, you know, why, God? Why? He goes, and then eventually it hit me that I have to look at this as a gift. And he goes, the gift is it gives other people an opportunity now to help. It gives them a reason to reach out. It gives them a reason to learn compassion. He's like, so I now believe what I have is a gift. And that is hard. That is like, to get to that place, it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. You know, even my father passed when I was 25. He was 53, out of the blue.
So young.
So young. Yeah. Now I'm going to be 56 in a few weeks. I'm like, I'm 3 years older than he was. And of course, it's horrible when you go through it. But the one thing you can always have control of is the meaning you give to things that have happened or are happening, right? So with my dad, I'm like, all right, you know, he sent me on, him passing sent me on this spiritual journey. Because when he passed, I was like, where'd he go? Where's his soul? What is he doing? What's it like? What's the bigger meaning in life? What's the purpose? All of that. And that has all culminated into what I do today. You know, wanting to understand the other side, wanting to understand the meaning of things and why things happen, why you meet people. Why do you feel stressed? Why do you feel this? Why do you feel that? How can we be better? Just all those questions. So I'm giving like those as an example of like, even when you're going through it, you don't want to listen to what I'm saying. You know, you're going through it. You're human. You have those emotions. You go through it. But at a certain time, you do get to choose the meaning. And I think that is one of the great things of life. You could have 2 people that have the exact same experience in life, right? Even another example is being on a plane, right? And when there's a lot of turbulence, you'll have people that are freaking out like, oh my God, we're gonna die. And then you would have other people there laughing and joking. And I remember sitting in the back, I'm like, I wanna be like that person who's laughing and not like that person that's like freaking out. And it's just like a shift. It's a mind shift. It's a perspective. Yeah. And when you change that perspective, it's everything. So I'm like, all right, well, when it's turbulence, I just think of it like air is a wave, like water. And it's just like being on the water. And so when you're going up and down, it's just like you're on the bay. And I imagine God holding his hand under the plane as we're moving, right? So I totally shifted my perspective into like, oh, it's fun when that happens. You know, I mean, obviously not like when it's really bad, but And because of that shift in perspective, I'm able to deal with the situation in a better way. So now when I go on a plane and it starts turbulent, I start talking to the person next to me and I start laughing and I'm like, okay, I'm that person now because I was able to shift perspective.
I mean, reframing is so important. It's everything, really.
Yes.
How do you see it? And I try to do that a lot. Yeah, things get difficult, things get frustrating, things go whatever. And then, you know, I mean, okay, a challenging thing is my daughter and my young grandson moved in, and it's, for people who like a quiet life, we're writers, it's difficult, but you know what, we're getting to see him grow up.
Yes.
You know, and
right.
as hard as it's like we get to see him laugh and we get to see him do these goofy things, and it's like watching life all over again. And so it's trying to, okay, we have to work, so I just got to blast my music a little bit so I don't hear it. But then after that, it's like, okay, I want to have time to play with him later.
Right.
Because this doesn't last.
It doesn't last. I have my 3 kids are all up and grown and out, and I'm just like, how did that even happen?
Yeah.
It's like just yesterday I brought them to nursery school. So even more, I realize how important it is to be in the moment. Go do what it is you want to do. You know, you want to write, you want to be in a film, whatever it is, open to start a business, just do it. You know, the life is short, and it's. But yeah, the reframing. That's why in the 11/11 reset, that's one of the main things I have them do at the end. I give them when I do the seminar, everybody downloads a journal that's very specific to that topic, and then they have the 11/11 sheet, and the reframe is one of the things. That's why I feel it's so important, because our whole life is 6 inches between our head, right? It's how we think about everything, right? It's amazing. So in doing what I do, I want to take all of this and try to put it in a way that can make it simplified for people, because people are so overwhelmed with so many things to learn and so many things to do. So I don't want to overwhelm anybody. So that's why it's like it's once a month, we're online, and then there's an app. That's amazing too. I use Claude, like so AI, and I'm like, all right, here's my website, the 1111reset.com. Create an app that will go along with this to help them throughout the month after the, you know, as momentum throughout the summer. And it created this app, like in 5 minutes. It was amazing. Wow. And I just went back, I edited it, so now like there's an app and I have a WhatsApp community that goes along with it, so you have support throughout the week, throughout that time. But yes, reframing is so important. And the more you can learn to do that, the better life you're going to have. Because whenever things happen, whenever something crosses your path, if you could just, that you don't expect, if you could just say, okay, how could I reframe this? And you come up with the answer, because your mind always looks for answers that you ask it, right? If you're like, why does this suck? Then, you know, your mind's going to find all the reasons for that. Or why is this good? You're going to find that. So the questions you ask yourself are really, really, really important. Yeah. So it's like every time something happens, I like to call it the reframe game. If you could play the reframe game all day and get really good at it, every time something comes up and you could reframe it right away, you can move past it instead of letting it bog you down. Like, oh, why did this happen? I can't believe this. It's like, all right, what did this happen? What did it teach me? What is this here to teach me? If something keeps showing up again and again, that's another thing I always will ask myself, okay, stop.
Why does this keep coming up?
What is this here to teach me? That is the question. And if you're really honest with yourself, you'll find the answer, and then you can move on and be like, oh, that's why.
Yeah. So I do the Italian thing. I got to go, for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Like, okay, I'm done. Now it used to be weeks, then it's days. Now it's like usually a couple of hours.
That's
okay,
good.
we can finish with that. Let's move on. You know, I got it out. Got to do what we got to do now. But yeah, that's so important. I remember I was ghostwriting a script for somebody, and it was based on true story, and he had like 5 scenes, and I had to just make up this whole thing around him. And he wanted me to meet with his mother, who the father was a Satan worshiper, let's just say that, and how that affected him. And so I go to this gorgeous, beautiful house, I think it was in Dix Hills, and she's sitting here telling me how horrible her life is and how horrible her life is because her husband was this and that, and she's going on and on. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, are you grateful for anything? I mean, you have your handsome son here, and you have this huge house, and he has his wing and this wing. I mean, you're grateful, like, give him for your cup of coffee in the morning or something?
Yeah.
And she just looked at me like, I said, because, you know, I mean, I'm not saying you haven't had hardship, but you have, like, this freaking great life, like a pool in the back and everything. You know, I mean, it's just...
It's so important to see that. I think so many of us don't see that. And what's interesting right now, what I'm loving, and I'm kind of, like, scrolling a lot in this area, is that we have the World Cup here. So we have all these foreigners from all these different countries seeing all the things that they see that are good, that sometimes we don't see. And it's just like, you know, as in life, like, what are the things other people, they say your life is somebody else's dream.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And at the same time, whatever challenges you have or problems, because I think words are important too, instead of calling them problems, to call them challenges. I love this like thing. If everybody sat in a circle and you took your biggest challenge and you put it in the middle in a pot, right? And then you sat back down and then you had to go back and pick out someone else's challenge, would you take that? Would you take their problem, or would you still want your own?
No. Yeah. I mean,
what would you want?
I see a lot of things on Facebook, or I belong to a lot of groups, so they'll say something like, if you could go back and fix change something, would you? And my answer is always no. Not a thing.
Because
I wouldn't be where I am now.
That's your thing, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people will not change their own challenges that they're going through for someone else's, because also that's personal to you. Those are the things that I believe like your soul has to work through. Not saying that it's easy, but it's something that there's growth and learning in there for you.
If you're happy where you are, that all got you here.
Yeah.
If you made a different decision, then who knows what could have happened?
Right,
You
right.
know? So you can change things going forward, but you can't change the past.
Right,
You know.
right.
So just be grateful for where you are, you know, and then work to work on the other things.
Yeah, Deb. And you know what? One of the things that I like to talk about is gratitude. And every time I do like a seminar, I always open up with gratitude and all of that. But I'm like, you know, here's the reality. I like to look things in like super practical ways. So when someone says for you to write a list of what you're grateful for, you could sit there and write a list, right? And if I say do that tomorrow, probably most of the same things will be on that list, right? So I'm like, all right, there's a good master list to have, but if you really want to practice gratitude, do it at night. So at night, write down 3 things that happened that day that you're grateful for. That day, not last week, but that day. So then every day, what does that make you do? You're always looking what you're going to write down that night. So your days are full of, all right, what am I grateful for today? What am I going to write down tonight? And you're always looking for it. That's living in gratitude. So I think that's another kind of different way to approach it. And for me, I love that because I'm like, all right, I'm going to write tonight. Like, I'm so grateful that I got to talk to Deb for an hour, an uninterrupted hour, you know, and be able to maybe help somebody that's listening to this. I'm grateful for this morning. I sat outside on my deck and I listened to birds and the trees for a half hour. You know, before I started my day, you know. I'm grateful that I was able to walk on my treadmill. So I'll think of all those things for today. I think that's super important. And that could really just open everybody's eyes as to what is good, you know.
Well, I'm thinking of another Donna-ism, too, that actually helped me out a lot just recently. Because you posted a video and it says something to the effect of, don't work your mood, work your plan. Or something like that.
Yes.
And I think of that when I get up. I'm like, it's hot out, I don't want to walk. I'm like, yeah, but what's that going to do for me? I'll forget. There's my sneakers. I'm out the door. It's hot, so I'll sweat. I'll take another shower. That's all.
Right.
But that's so important because the thing is, once you make that decision and do it, you always feel better.
Right.
You know, if you have to work out and I've got to get that done early.
I I don't know. I guess I'm at a point in my life where I'm like, if you want to do something, just do it. Don't worry about what other people are going to say. Don't worry about does it work, does it not work. Just do it. So many people have ideas in their head and they're worried about, well, I put it out there, what is everybody going to think? Look, I'm doing this. I'm a person like everybody else, but I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm putting this out there because I really want to help people. And I hope it reaches the people and I hope people join the membership because I really want to connect with them and I want to help their lives. And if people think it's stupid, whatever, I don't care. I don't care. I'm doing it for the people who get it and want to connect and connect with what I'm saying. So it's like, just do it, you know, not to have any regrets and not to worry about. I've just read something this morning, actually. It said 50, when you care about the things you want to do in your life, 51% more than what other people think, you're going to have a great life. Because you're not going to be worried about that. And you're just going to create, right? I mean, like you write and you direct movies. You're like, oh, I have this, came through me. I have this idea. I put it out there and I put it out there. And hopefully it's received. And if it's not, it doesn't matter. This is my creativity. This is what I'm doing. I'm putting it out there. And it's like, if we're not on earth to do that, then what is it? We're not to sit in our room and do nothing and be scared? Like, why?
Yeah, I mean, I had to come to the point where, I mean, as an artist, you're always going through imposter syndrome. You just have to.
That's in every
what
field.
What am I doing? Oh my God, what, you know, how's that happening? But I've gotten to the point where I realize it's going to be seen or read by the people who need to see or read it.
That is exactly it.
And the other people, it doesn't matter because it wasn't for them.
Yes. Yeah, I totally believe no matter what you do, there's like this box of like, let's say 20% of the people, 30%, whatever it is. And these are the box that don't get it, that they're going to put it down. They're going to say, you stink, you're horrible, but what do you know? Take the box, put it on the shelf. Don't let those people stop you from connecting with the other 70 or 80% of the people that want your work or want to connect with you. Why would you do that? Like that, you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for this big group of people that are like, yeah, I want more of this. That's what you're doing for.
Oh, yeah.
The faster you can learn that, because not everybody is going to like you.
Yes.
I know that. I'm like, not every single person is going to like me. And I got to be okay with that because I have a lot of people that do connect with what I'm doing, and that makes me so happy, and that's who I'm doing it for. And if the other people don't get it, they're just not, I'm not even saying that they're bad people. It's just not for them, or they're not in that place or whatever. I mean, like I said, even me, like when I was going, the times in my life where I was going through things that were really really, really tough, I could not listen to me. Like, I had to be a little bit further out than that to be like, all right, I'm ready to like get help and move on or think of things differently. You know what I'm saying? So it also depends on where people are at in their lives, if they're ready for that or not. And that's all okay. It's all okay.
Yeah.
It's very freeing. To just create and put something out. Like creating the 1111 Reset membership and business-wise, like, okay, what am I going to have them do? How am I going to do this? And like put that out, or a movie, and like, what do I want to create or write or a book? It's just like we're all these creators. And it's like, just get it out.
Yeah.
Put it out there, you know?
Yeah, and you have to, like you were saying with people, I mean, yeah, it costs money to get, to increase your skill set and your whatever. And one thing I had to do, I mean, Waitlist, I love your story, which I know you came to see and you supported me when we were in the theater.
Oh my
that
God.
was awesome. So it was on Prime Video and just trying to get it out there. And finally I said, I got to hire people because I can't, I'm so busy with projects, I can't do this all. And I mean, if you make something and nobody sees it, then, so much for that. But so I had to hire a publicity person. All of a sudden I'm getting all these reviews and I'm like, oh, so you always think now, obviously, when somebody's really famous, it's a different story, but sometimes you realize people getting all this coverage, it's because they actually have somebody who's out in their corner pushing it out. And it never occurred to me. I think they just find it. No, they don't find it. You got to pay somebody to go send out stuff. So, hey, here's this movie, here's this.
Yes.
And then I have a social media guy because I don't have time to almost do that except for little postings here or there. And also I'll see my things come up and you have like 500 views. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that was out there. But yay.
In the beginning of anything, it's like I imagine like 25 hats. That's baseball caps.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's everything. It's everything.
It's
and then
so much.
Slowly, when you hire, the people that I've talked to that were really successful in business, and when I say successful, I mean that they're also actually happy. They all have hired people to help them go further.
Yeah.
They've all hired people to help them go further, So with the 1111 Reset, I'm like, and this specific one, it's like I made it $47 a month, so it's like not $1 million. If I were to go into a company and do it, it is a lot more money. But I'm like, I just want it to be accessible to everybody, you know? And the seminars that I actually do are really personal, which I think makes a big difference. So I'm going to give you an example, right? So I'm gonna do one eventually on stress, like resetting your stress from chaos to clarity. I think that's what I called it. And so you could go to a seminar and just get information, right? But I'm like, no, I just don't want to give information. How can I help people to transform in that 1 hour? How could I give them as much value as possible? So I design every single seminar to be personal to you. So for example, with the stress one, I start out and we talk about like, all right, I start out by saying on this journal, because you download a journal for each seminar, write down everything stressing you out. The people stressing you out, we all have lots of those. The thoughts that you have that are stressing you out, the things you have to do that are stressing you out. Like put everything down. So I call it a stress dump. And they just write everything down. I'm like, keep going, everything. And they're like, oh my God, so much, right? Turn the page. And, they put everything down. And I said, okay, this is your personal stress dump, what you're dealing with. Let's now talk about what are the things in life you could control and what are the things you can't control. So we go through that, and it's like, well, we can control our skills, ourself, how we react, how we think, right? We can't control other people. We can't control the weather. We can't control the media. There's a lot of other things in life that we can't control. So we come to an agreement on that as in a session, as a class. And then I say, okay, go back onto your list, and now I want you to cross out all the things you just told me you can't control. And they're like, oh, okay. So now I start seeing them cross things off the list. And I'm like, now, if you keep getting stressed out of something because of something you just told me you can't control, you're now creating your own suffering. Because you just told me you can't control it. Why are you giving your energy to these things on your list that you have no control over? It is wasted energy. It stops you from doing things that you can do, right? So, and now I say go back on the list, and you see all the things you stressed out about that you didn't cross out? That's awesome. That means you can control it. And the reason why you're probably stressed is you don't know which way to go, right? Like, what's it, paralysis by analysis. Do I do this? Should I do this? Should I do that?
Oh, God,
how do I do it? Right? And you just sit there. So then I say, okay, write down just the first action step for that issue. Maybe it's call somebody, have a meeting with somebody, organize a desk, whatever it is. What is one thing you can do? And when you start creating some action steps, you become empowered, and the stress goes away, right? And then I talk about the stress. So for example, I'll give you an example. I'll say, all right, let's say that you cross things off the list, right? And it's hard. Let's say, okay, I know I can't control it, but it's kind of still stuck with me. How do I really get rid of this? I know I can't control it. I have to cross it off and forget it. I'll say, all right, so take a bottle. So, okay, I'm gonna do interactive things. So she's holding up a bottle, right? And pretend this is something that is on the list that you crossed off, you can't control, but you're still holding on to it. If you hold on to it for a day, what's going to happen to your arm?
Oh yeah, you're gonna be sore, and it's
And what about a month? And what about a year?
Yeah.
What about you hold on to it for 2 years, right? Now, when you're ready, you can put it down because that's always been your choice.
Yeah. My karate trainer always, Joan, was always amazing, and she always had the greatest feedback and whatever. And I remember telling her there's a lot of things I wanted to do, and I didn't know what to do next. And she goes, "Well, just pick one." I'm like, "What if I'm wrong?" She goes, "So you pick another one." I'm like, "Oh." All right, so I can try that. If it doesn't work, then I can just do something else. But you don't know what to. So because I am just awful because I'm always afraid to make the wrong decision. I want to do all these 10 things. Which one do I do? And it's gotten easier, but it's sort of like, yeah, all right. So if it's the wrong one, you do a different one next time. That's all.
You know, I heard one time someone say, "Do the thing that excites you the most because that's where your energy is."
Yeah, but sometimes I like to do a lot of things, and then
and your energy's like,
I know, like, but I want to do them all at one time.
I know.
I mean, there was 14 months where we worked on, oh God, I don't know, 2 feature films, a pilot, 6 shorts, and for us and for others, and I loved doing it, but there was so much that I was just exhausted and stressed, and I go, what, when you get up and you're like, this freaking movie, when you love it,
right,
but you start feeling that way, it's just too much.
Yeah.
So then I had to make the decision to just say no a lot more and enjoy what I'm doing.
Well, that's a big thing too, knowing when to say no to things not like that's important. So it's what do you want to do? What are your goals? How does that make you feel? What are you trying to create in life? And if things do not match that, it's okay to say no at the time. Yeah. Because even if they want you to do something, it probably wouldn't be your best work because you're focused on the things you really want to work on.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's also kind of, believe it or not, freeing for them because maybe you weren't the right person for that, or maybe they had to learn something from the experience of you saying no, or whatever it is, So
yeah, I find that a lot. I mean, when I first started making movies, John said, you do realize you turn down a job a day because people were just, it was insane. I cast my cross to bear, and then I decided I wasn't going to do it again because besides being film commissioner, I didn't have time because, of course, I could do that in my own time. And then, within 3 weeks, I got a call from Kathy Cato, who runs the Queensboro Film Festival, going, I have a director who has a really good feature film, and she needs a casting director and a producer. I'm like, all right, out of respect for you, let me read it. And 10 pages in it was one of the best things I've ever read. And so, all right, so I'll do this one. And after I did that, then I did Last Taxi Driver because I wanted to know what made directors crazy. And now I know. But because everything is on your shoulders. And you have to be so flexible and you have to be, whatever. Right. But after that point, my texts didn't stop coming in and the DMs were coming in and I couldn't go to a film festival without people come up to I need to work with you. And I'm like, I think after about a year and a half of that, I said, okay, this has to stop because I can't read everything and I can't do everything because even if I give up sleep and even if I give up vacations and even if I give up the weekends, there's still only so many hours I can do this. Because 9 to 5, I am there unless I'm taking days off. But so I had to slow down and just take the things that were important. But I've always had the philosophy, too, that if I read something and it's just not for me, if I don't feel it, I can't do it. I can't do it justice.
That's great, yeah.
So I'm going to refer to somebody else who it might be their thing. And I do that a lot, So, but it was getting to the point where I'm really sorry, but I just don't have time to read that, or I can watch the first 10 minutes of your movie, but I really don't have time.
Right.
With my ridiculous schedule, I just don't have the time. And I just did that like a week or two because somebody sent somebody to me, and I'm in bed watching it, and I literally fell asleep watching it. I'm like, and so I had to write to her, and I said, I mean no disrespect, but I literally fell asleep because I'm trying to watch this, in the last few minutes of my day.
But then it's depleting energy from you, and then you're not doing anything great because you're getting, pulled on in all these different directions. So it's like you have to figure out what is it that really is aligned with who I am, and let me work on that.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. I mean, even like leaving the film office was a big decision for me because I could have done it forever, but it wasn't exciting me.
Right.
And I think it was Nugent, first of all, that said to me, okay, so say you stay here another 5 years. He said, and you look back, how do you feel? I said, that I wasted 5 years of my life. And
that's a great thing he did. That
it
is
was
called,
a great thing he
that's
did.
actually called forward pacing. That's actually a technique. That's that if you, wherever you're at, if you have to make a decision, like you just said, look at it 5 years from now and say, okay, if I'm in this position and nothing changes 5 years from now, how am I going to feel? If nothing changes and it's the same thing 10 years from now, 15 years from now, who have I not become because of this? Who did I not? What happened to my health because of this? What opportunities did I not get because of this?
Yeah.
Right? And kind of look at yourself in the future and bring yourself to that place. That's a powerful thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
That's a powerful thing to do.
And then John basically looked at everything and said, okay, so if you put that aside and you take your pension, you take your early Social Security, look at all that stuff, and he goes, you do realize you work for $300 a month? And I'm like, all right, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous, because all I have to do is work half a day and I make that in the film. So it just got to the point like, okay, I don't miss it. Actually, I really don't miss it. I thought I would miss it, and I don't think I really did.
It's natural to move on. You know, you did something for a long time. You have all the experience there. You had all the experience in the film and
and
TV.
it was great. I'm so thankful to have been able to do that.
And now it was like such an. I remember talking to you when you wanted to do casting, and I'm like, Deb, you have so much knowledge of this field. Like, it's a natural progression to say, okay, I want to do something different now, and you just keep growing and growing and growing. You know,
Absolutely.
and that's so important, and that's just life. So it's okay to leave one thing and start with the next. You just outgrow it, or you evolved, or you learned your lesson from that, and you just feel the need to create more.
Yeah.
And it's part of life.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so thankful for all of it, because it got me to the point where I got to do what I love. A good 80% of the time I got to do what I love.
That is really
you
good.
know, and that's rare. And then I
Right.
had great benefits, and I had days off. So if I wanted to make a movie, I'd take a week off for vacation, I'd make a movie.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't go to Europe, but hey,
Right.
I got a film. You know, and I learned so much there, and I got to know so many people. And then with the Long Island International Film Expo, I get to meet filmmakers from all over the world.
Right.
And some people I ended up working with, you know, and I learned so much from them, you know, so that was pretty awesome. And because I got to know so many celebrities, that it's people I ended up casting in my own movies as
Do you
well.
see
So
how
other people-
do you see how it works? Isn't
Oh,
it
yeah.
amazing?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you look back and you're like, oh, I did that, and now that's helping me get to where I'm at the next step.
Yes.
And a lot of times you don't realize that. So it's if you could look at where you're at right now and appreciate where you're at right now, whether it's a good thing or not, whether it's something that you feel like, oh, why did this work out for me? If you go down the line in your life, you look back and you can say, oh, that's why this
Everything.
didn't happen, right? So if
Everything.
you can trust in the moment, okay, this didn't happen exactly how I expected it, but I know down the line it's going to make sense, so let me be okay with it right now.
And that's the happy accidents too, the things that you
Yes.
don't expect that you think is a problem, and then I mean, even last Taxi Driver with 3 blizzards in a row and almost getting snowed out. It's like, all right, we got to film because this is the 3 days we got, and then you look at all the snow in the background,
Yeah,
and it's
I
so
saw
fit
it,
the
right.
movie,
I know.
which was perfect, you know. So it's just things that. As a director, you know that something's going to go wrong or something's going to happen, but when you find how all of a sudden your brain just works through it,
Yeah.
you know, and I had, when we did Welcome to Bellevue, that I was hired for by Maureen Van Treese, there were a lot of challenges because it took her 2.5 years to raise the money, so we'd film a day or two, months would go by, film another day or two, and now it looks amazing, but it was always like, okay, this is the one day the rest of the summer we can get this one actress, and we need her because we already filmed her, so now we had a quick recast, you know, a bunch of people for this
Right.
one day, but we were able to do it, you know, and at the end of it, you're like, look at the things that are so easy for me now because
Right.
I've done it, you know,
Yeah.
and you know that whatever it is, you just have to figure it out. You know,
It
You
is
lose a
so much
location.
about figuring out, and that's true. I think that stops a lot of people too. Like, it's got to be absolutely perfect.
No.
Everything has to be exact, and it's like you'll never get it done. Just go
Yeah.
and trust. Like, as you go, the right situations and people and things, it's gonna show up. You know.
Yeah.
But if you wait for everything to be absolutely perfect, you're gonna be stuck.
Absolutely.
And people sometimes are afraid to do that because then it's like, well, if it's not perfect, what are people going to think? And then did I fail at it? It's like, no, just go. You know, in the world of even film or even entrepreneurship, right, which is the same kind of thing. You got your creativity and you put it out as a business and everything. There are so many people that they say to make it, you have to fail. That's part of the process
Yeah.
of making it.
Otherwise, you haven't done anything.
Or else you
Yeah.
haven't done anything. You haven't put yourself out there. You haven't risked. But that is part. No one just says, I want to do this and I'm successful and that's it. And there's always, I tried this. It didn't work. I tried this. It didn't work, but I learned from that. I tried this. Oh, and I met these people. They gave me an idea for this, and I tried, and then it comes together. But you have to put yourself out there.
Oh, yeah.
You have to trust, just go.
Yeah, and you have to know, I mean, it's probably going to sound corny, but you got to kind of know that the universe has your back in a way. Yes, you have to do the work, but like with Last Taxi Driver, with everything that could have possibly gone wrong on my very first movie, from blizzard after blizzard to 6 different weather patterns in 3 days, to one of our zombies getting mugged at gunpoint in the city, to our hair and makeup and effects person getting the food poisoning. And I just remember leaving everybody in catering and holding, and I'm walking out into snow going, hi. If you want me to make a movie, you got to help me out here.
Right.
If this doesn't work out, then I'm not making movies. And everything worked out.
Deb,
you know?
so we have to talk about behind the scenes, because that's exactly that's exactly what
Yes.
it's about.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
And you helped me write that, and so did Russ, and I wrote it. Like, so it was great. Like, we put it all together. But that's what this movie is about. That I have people in place, but I'm still I have some of the funding. I have to get the rest of the funding. But it's about a marketing executive who loses his job and is devastated, but he didn't really like it in the first place. He felt it was meaningful. And we cut to the universe, the other side, who's excited about him losing his job. And just we see the pathway of how all the things that he thinks is happening, if it's not good, how the universe says, no, this is what needs to happen in order to get you where you want, right? And then there's a scene in it too. I had to put the idea of my father. So I feel like, God, the universe, like they do have your back, and they're waiting for you to go. They're watching to see what you do so that they can move forward with you, and they want to see that energy come out of you that's positive, that they'll get to that, and then it'll help you move faster. But I also believe people who passed on are also part of that team. So I have a scene where, the guy, his name is Mike, and he's on his couch. He lost his job, and I'm no good. I'm no this, I'm no that. And the universe is watching him and going, we can't get in there, right? Because you have all these negative thoughts. We got to open the door, and they couldn't do anything. And they're like, all right, let's bring in the big guy. So then all of a sudden, you see this man walking up, and he's on the other side. Mike can't see who he is, but we see it as the viewers. And he starts taking a baseball, and he goes like this. And Mike played, because he was a coach. And then all of a sudden you start seeing Mike take a baseball and start going like this. So you see the connection of like, well, why did I just pick up a baseball? Because he was just influencing me on the other side. And then his dad starts talking. And Mike starts getting memories of like, remember when you were in sport? Remember when we were down and you still had to go up to bat and you still have to do this? And he starts getting these memories, and those memories is what made him get off the couch and go do what he had to do. And as he's going to do what he's doing, what he needs to do, we see all the synchronicities that happen, and the universe like, yay, finally he's up off the couch. But it was to show also that people who passed are still part of your life, and they're still trying to influence you, and they're trying to get to you. So I wanted to make sure I put that in there too.
And I'm not sure if this is still in there, but there was one thing that I really loved where he's getting ready to get fired, or I think he just got fired, and he basically says, this is the worst thing, and then on the other side, this is the best thing at the same time.
That's how we open. That's it. Like, we see him, and he's like, he's on the phone, and he's complaining, and he's complaining, and his boss happens to hear it on the phone. He doesn't realize. So his boss is like, get in here. You're not doing good anyway. And he's like, no, I just bought a house. I just did this. He's like, well, I'm sorry. Then we cut to the universe, and they have this button, and they're about to press the button. As soon as they press this big red button, the boss goes, you're fired. And he goes, no. And the universe, like you said, goes, yay. Yeah, that's a pivotal point. And that really dictates what the film is about.
Because I don't really know anybody who hasn't had a challenge that they needed to get past to do something different. Nobody has that clear path. Everything goes right all the time.
Right.
Something guides you this way or guides you that way, and
Exactly.
leads you to the thing that you want to do, if you keep that mindset that that's what
Right.
you want to do.
Right. And yes, you have free will. I think I have a scene in the movie where he's going down a street, and the universe is like, oh, great, he's going to run into the person we want him to meet. And then all of a sudden something distracts him, and he goes the other way, and they're like, and they're like, all right, plan B. The universe goes plan B, because we still do have free will, but we still have that. I believe, like, I want people to walk out seeing this movie going, wow, I had no idea I have a whole team on the other side that's rooting for me. I got to get my thoughts in straight. I have to get myself off that couch and back into life. That's what I want them to feel, hopefully, when they move, that when they get out of that seat in a theater. So.
That'll be cool. Yeah, that's. I mean, another thing when synchronistic. Another synchronistic thing is when certain things we would write it, we would talk and we'd be like, "I just got chills," and we'd be like, "Oh my God, I just got chills."
That's the best. It's like that's the sign. They said, "Yeah, they put." Oh, did we write it or did they write it?
No, we wrote. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Did the other side write it or did we write it?
Yeah. I mean, just one funny thing I had to talk about. When I met John, my husband. I had been on dating sites, and I got off dating sites because I felt like I had to answer everybody, even if I wasn't going to meet them. I wanted to be polite. So I got off of everything, and a month later, I'm not on anything, and I get this email from a site I hadn't been on for a month, and he hadn't been on it, but for some reason he saw my profile, which wasn't up there, and he writes me, and it's like, all right, well, that's really weird, but okay. So we ended up going up for coffee, and it's like, that was almost 21 years ago, and it's like, it just boom. And I remember sitting there, I think our first dinner, and he takes his glasses off, and I felt like, if you ever saw the movie Phenomenon where he gets struck in the head by a lightning, that's what I felt like. It's like, oh, I was supposed to meet him, but not until I gave up. I wasn't dating anybody. Frig this. I'm going to live my life alone. I'm going to be happy. That's going to be cool. And like a month later, I wrote my list of everything I wanted, cut off.
I think we all have that list.
We do, right? And I crossed off a couple of things because I figured nobody's going to have those. And once we got to know each other, even had the things that I crossed off because I thought they were impossible. Ballroom dancing and all this other stuff. But it's like, I think when the time is right, if you do the work, you have to surrender, though. There's a thing about surrendering.
There's a thing about trust.
And
it's know what you want, believe it, start going toward it, and then like let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Let the synchronicities happen how they're supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah. So.
And I never would have believed that would have happened. At that point, I gave up. That's it. I'm just where I'm going to travel by myself, what I'm going to do by myself, and then boom.
That's it.
Well, that just changed things, you know. And then we even got married at your house on the water.
I know. That was great. That was the reason you met me.
That's right.
To get married in my house.
That's right. That was pretty wild. Had the Phantom of the Opera thing. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
So how can people find you to find out about your programs that you're doing?
They can go to the 1111, the numbers, so the 1111reset.com. And I would love for you to join me. Like I said, I'm getting this off the ground, and everybody that's involved in it, to me, they're so special. And I just want them to know I'm going to care about them so much, and that they're going to get the feeling of I know I should be doing something for myself. I don't have any time. That's what this is. So if you feel stressed, if you feel like you're lacking direction, if you're resetting through a time in your life, you're going through, like you just went through a divorce, or you moved, or a new business, or retired, or whatever that is, and you're like, I should be doing something with my mindset and thinking better, this is for you.
Now, you have a special promotion for people who hear this podcast.
Yes, I do. So when you go on to the1111reset.com, and when you go to check out, just put in intentions 1111 and you get 1111 off the first month.
So intentions with an S?
With an S,
okay.
Because the podcast is intentions, that's why I have the S.
Okay.
So intentions 1111 and you get 1111 off your first month. It's $47 a month. You can cancel anytime. You can join anytime. So it's a revolving. Every month is a different topic. So it doesn't matter when you sign up, or And then if you miss it, I actually make it the actual seminar online seminar is the first Tuesday of every month from 12 to 1. In case you're working, you can take it as a lunch and learn. That'll be a lunch break. So that way I wanted to try to make it at a time where most people could be part of that. But please, and email me, let me know your name, that you're joining, that you got me through Debbie, and I would love to talk to you and just let's do this. Let's do something for you. It's the same thing. You have a membership for the gym. We need a membership for the mindset.
It's so important to do things for yourself.
Yeah.
And sometimes you put those things apart, and that's one thing that I've started doing the last couple of years is, okay, yoga, I'm worth it. I need this time.
Yes.
This is good for me. And I've started doing that more and trying to not stop the things I love doing. I'm still making films, but I'm putting in the time for myself because that's so important.
It is so important because it's the basis of everything that you do. You think about, you have belief systems about things that you're going to do, right? And I made it simple on purpose. I didn't make it every day or every single week so that it's all right, once a month, I can dictate, I can, have an hour for myself. Do this, then we have the app that supports you through the month to keep your momentum going. And we could always stay in contact. You could email me throughout the month, and then we go on to the next topic. And every month you're bettering yourself in some area, helping you to reset as your best self.
That's beautiful. Now, how do they find you on Instagram if they want to follow you?
Donna Sirianni. I think Instagram is Donna Sirianni, Sirianni speaker. So that says at Donna Sirianni speaker. On Facebook, it's at Donna Sirianni. I'm on TikTok. I put up videos, little videos and stuff. If you're interested, also to a point, if anyone who's listening is part of an organization where you go to work and you want to bring the 1111 Reset into your organization, I could do that. I have special packages for organizations that want to have their people go on to the 1111 Reset once a month for your well-being. So that's what we do. And if you're interested in all the other things that I do, my main business that this grew out of is movingforwardstrategies.com. So I work with law firms, organizations, not-for-profits, and I come in and I do live seminars.
Very cool.
Happy to help.
Yay! So this has been really awesome. What do we have? 3 minutes left, or this is slow?
We're
good.
If you want to go 3 minutes, you can go 3 minutes.
I know. I think we're good, but. Okay. I want to thank you all for joining us here today. I just love Donna.
Thank you.
Really?
I have to say, what you're doing is great. I love all your films. I love the podcast, and I'm so honored to come on here and talk with you. This is awesome.
Cool. You touch everything, television, film.
Yeah, it's life.
All of my, it's awesome. But thank you all for joining us at the Best of Intentions. We're here pretty much every Monday, and watch my movie, Weightless: A Love Story. We're
it's
on
so
Tubi
good
now.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, that meant so much that you came. But it's on Tubi now, so you can see it for free. It's on Prime Video, Google Play, and we're going to have 2 more films by the end of the year. So I need to get them out here. But thank you so much, everybody.
Yes.
And we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Deb.
Thank you.